This is actually very important for me to do it. Well, like this. But this stuff did not last, months, years. It was a psychiatrist, Peter Kapsch, who gave the order. Sometimes in 2003. Is our house. Behind that is Yerman house, practically. And he gave the order sometimes in 2002. It's a cold weather. Actually earlier, 2001. 2001. Winter. Quite dirty, looked like winter. Snowy and muddy. You can hear this loser over there coughing. Yeah, keep coughing, eh? And he gave the order. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. 2000 it was. And he started to walk me through here. I'm gonna show you. And practice what they claim is gonna be a notice that your father is dead. And this stuff did not stop. Eventually it never stopped. It stopped finally sometimes in, I don't know. I remember the mother would come back from home for elderly people, and it was with a sister, with my niece, that they religiously practiced this type of abuse. Obviously for like 14 years in a row before they told me, we're gonna tell him, now we're gonna tell him, we're gonna tell him. This shit went on for a few days. Finally see the mom coming. It was in the fall. It was in the fall. It started to get cool. And mom comes and tells me, father is dead. Because this practice, they would not stop with this stuff. You see, they would not stop this. They were doing this stuff for 14 years before they would say to me, before they would come out and say, it's over. Yeah. There was one day they would bring me in the direction where I'm going to demonstrate you. A psychiatric nurse was present all the time. Andrea Jeric would come very often, and often she would do the walk with me by herself. She would take me behind the hill and make me walk back and forth, up and down, just the way I'm going to do today. And so mom returned one day from home for elderly people, because this is what they were doing. They tortured father, they were killing the father, and they would deliver me at home for elderly people to be abused also by father according to police instructions, and of course police who was using the father for this type of stuff. He endured so much torture, and the worst part is that he did not even know what he was in this world for, literally. That it makes no sense for me to think about his share of crime in my case. He paid so dearly for the stuff already to the police. They were using him, that it makes no sense to talk about that stuff. And so they delivered me. Yeah, I think it was about here, when mom would come from the opposite direction and that's where they would take me for a walk. That would be mornings. And she would be coming from the opposite direction. She would say to me, "It's over. Now it's over." And that pertained to what should have been the death of my father. Then they started to instigate about the father's death. And psychiatrist Peter Kapsch was truly excited about this. He loved it. He just lived for the day when he is gonna... All the time it was uncertainty in the air about getting my father killed. This shit went on for 14 years before he finally clarified himself, just as I explained right here. And everything on camera, everything recorded, everything in my face. And it was not understandable to him, started to behave in such a way as if he sympathized with me, demanded from me empathy for him, demanded from me, to see myself in him. He was actually, beginning some 2008, he started to insist that he's going to do me a favor, that he's going to help me out together with the Robert Golub since 2006. Since 2006. This is the way this stuff was. And it did not stop in 2014. This news he continued to repeat. I felt as if he is trying to make me get used to losing the father. This murderous animal, psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, was doing this stuff in such a way as he played in front of me, as he would pay attention to my sensitivity about getting my father killed. You don't understand anything what I try to explain. This psychiatrist, he had a way of doing this stuff. This guy, he had a way of doing this stuff. You can only see him here, and this is exactly what he stated the case is going to be. Everything is going based on MK Ultra. It used to be the whole wall here, numerous pictures of him. He's gone off the internet. You can't see him no more, practically. He had a way to do this stuff. He had a very, very fine way of doing things. And so the way he did this stuff, in 2008, he mentioned to me about getting my father killed and stuff like that. He wanted me to remember him. It was not in 2008, this stuff. This stuff started in 2004, even earlier. The way he was doing this stuff, he was doing this stuff in such a way so that for the particular issue, that is insane issue, killing your father probably is not, you know, this is beyond insane issue. He wanted me to remember him. He wanted me to memorize him as somebody who is always next to me, just steps away, and who is doing to me insane stuff. But like the stuff you're about to see, walking back and forth, destroying legs, foot, causing injuries all over the body. And would not mention, "I will kill your father." This is not the way it is. He tells you once, and then years go in between, which he used only to indirectly mind boggle you. That means drive you completely insane. You understand? Tells you, "I'm going to kill your father." And then what it does is it go 1, 2, 3, 4 years in between, just coming very close to the issue to remind you about who he is and what he is doing through me. You understand now what the fuck this is? This is a very, very, very fine way of driving somebody completely out of his mind, completely insane. That's why you have all those shootings and stuff at the police and so on, and school shooting and all kinds of stuff, rampage. This is what this shit is. This is a made-in police department, this stuff. This is not ordinary people, the way this stuff was done.
You have 4 years in between, and then he would remind you, and he could barely wait to remind you. In a most disgusting way. Actually explains even that he's making you a favor and stuff like that. I completely drive you insane. Whatever this fucking guy was doing, he was doing in the most toxic and the most criminal, bestial way possible. This is the representative of Milan Kuchan.
So this would be the route that they would take me for a walk. Police, neighbor Metod Yerman, police officer, and at times literally a psychiatric personnel from Ljubljana Polis, such as was Andrea Jeric. During psychiatric hospitalization, which started in 2012 and all the way to 2015, 2015, 2016, it would be a psychiatric nurse that would come to do her part. Instead of sleeping, instead of resting myself, getting sleep, they were pumping literally with the schizophrenia. They were literally imitating a schizophrenia through the most bestial horror scenarios. So you don't get sleep, but you pumped with the schizophrenia literally. By the police, by the psychiatrists, by politicians, by judges literally, court employees, state employees, all kinds of state employees, and of course private party, all kinds of people that will be meeting here and so on in our house. I don't know how long this battery is going to hold for, but yeah, I just hope it's going to hold. This is what we would turn, preferably this way. Yeah, but I mean, talking about the stuff we're going to go do right now. Which I never do. It was yesterday, the first time I did. For the first time in my life, found myself going through this route. MK Ultra exercise route, the one I am describing, but extremely beneficial for me route. For instance, I recalled a neighbor, Metod Yerman, who was laughing at me, gesturing me. Here is a chestnut right here. You said that there is no chestnut around your house. I never said, but this is the way they talk to you to get your interest during MK Ultra. Even what captured more yesterday my interest was the grass was nicely cut. And not here because it's not so much exposed to the sun, but what I'm heading at, because it was cut, the grass was cut, what empowered a neighbor, Metod Yerman. That's a village right there. You can see, maybe you cannot even see it, right? Now you can see better. I did not realize that. I hope the video was okay, because it's really good video. It really is good stuff I do. What empowered one into destroying my shoes, what empowered him was, and he had the shoes deliberately destroyed also, like this. He destroyed shoes deliberately. Those are the shoes that were used during MK Ultra, the shoes that you see right there. These shoes, they would literally deliver them, I think, from France before they had the store here. There was those, I don't think there was Decathlon store here when they were already delivering the shoes. These shoes are like the best shoes in the world when I got these shoes. These shoes for the first time I started to use was, oh God, they would give me this kind of shoes sometimes in, barely, I think in 2012, I think they would start to use this 10 euros, 12, 13 euro shoes. They were good because they were comfortable, yet they were always using smaller shoes than my size. And that's how they cripple the legs. Always. The worst shoes that they were used were Chinese shoes without any air. I purchased them this year. I told you about how they evaluate the products. Product testers is actually a real deal. It's a real thing. I can tell you all about the product testers for Alibaba, AliExpress, Temu, and so on. And I was really relieved when I got these shoes because of what I explained to you. They were using shit shoes, horrific shoes to destroy legs. And these are the first shoes that were comfortable, and they were extremely unhappy. In 2012, they would give me one pair to try. And then they started to fuck with this. Sometimes in 2015, they would start to use these shoes like this. And interestingly, in 2017, I purchased them in Budapest when I immigrated to Hungary to file for political asylum. And so I will never forget him. Right here, there is a valley down there where I'm actually heading right now. And they would order me to do exercise, or would do exercise with them. They insisted that I need fresh air and this and that, and air myself and so on, that this is what I need to do. No, they did not insist on that kind of stuff. They insisted that I have to go, basically they did this stuff in their own way. They tell you that you need to sweat and stuff like that, which is practically the same thing. But this shit is done in such a way so that you don't do it. This is brain-killing procedure. Really brain-killing procedure. And if you go out and you start meeting the fucking crazy people like this, trash neighbors that had you locked inside of the basement, they tortured you. This whole fucking village was involved in a torture. And the one behind and the one and so on. You can get into serious trouble before you know. Life becomes extremely undesirable. The surroundings that become troublesome for you. And so I'll never forget this scumbag, a police officer, in fact even a higher investigator, Method Yerman, who learned about these shoes, and that's why I know they were exactly this kind of shoes. Not only they looked like these shoes, but these shoes are extremely, extremely sensitive to any kind of fabric tear. So easily occurs in these shoes. Which is you walk, the insoles, the outsoles, I don't know how you call them, but you know, this white thing here. Here you step on a smallest little stone and you can feel one. And so he learned that these shoes are extremely, extremely sensitive to two things that can easily damage the shoes. Not really. No, not really, but this is a story, that's how he developed the story about this criminal next door. He realized that any water have extremely negative impact on the shoes, which it does. Actually, the water has an impact, very bad impact on every shoes. So this is what I was going to show you. Let me just get here to the shadow so that I get to see, if you get to see what I see. This is beautiful here in the background here. That valley right there, down there. Let me just turn the camera on so that I see that you get to see this. That's where I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna go back up and down and back up and down. He learned that the main factor, decisive factor for the shoes were water, and the second thing, if you were to walk inside of the forest, you easily could bruise the shoes if they love to stick into something, and just about anything can penetrate through them. Not really. No, not really. Really not. But this guy, this is a Satan. This is a psychopath. This is normal person. This is not. So that's why I try to present you with how he saw this and what the reality is. Reality is that these are shoes. They don't have that bottom protection that would guarantee you at least some rigidity at the end on the bottom. They don't have that kind of stuff. It's just like, I think, like a foam, you know, that kind of stuff. Soft, and that's what I like. And it's also healthy, comfortable, airy. It's also airy. I mean, this is literally like you have nothing on your leg, which is really good stuff because the leg is breathing well. And so he learned that just by walking like this in his head, this guy was a schizophrenic, but I know that he is a criminal. Unlike this guy, caused me more harm than anybody else did. This individual, this is the guy who created close to all these problems. He learned that as you walk like this, just on the grass is freshly cut. Grass was quite, not that it would have spikes, but as it was cut, I don't know, maybe it's raining a little bit or what's going on, or maybe I'm too early. No, I'm not. Yesterday was the same thing. I don't know what it is, but yesterday when I came, I could feel grass more, no, just about almost like this, sharp, just as sharp like that. Not sharp, but what I mean is from underneath, when you cut the grass gets like, not spikes, come on, that's crazy. But he learned in his head that it's necessary to destroy the shoes in the way I demonstrated. The shoes were destroyed, and that always was with the knife here and here. This is just the way they destroyed me. I don't know how many pairs of shoes. More than 20 pairs of shoes. Yeah, it's true that shoes have certain issues, but the stuff that I was talking about definitely was done with a knife. The shoes were definitely knifed. There's no doubt about it. Now, the origins of this shoe, destruction of the shoe, he got an idea, were the water, and the second thing, the second origin of destruction of the shoes were what he claimed was there's no problem to chop them, because he claimed, that's what he claimed, that he had the shoes like this and he was walking back and forth, and he claimed that already going through the through the grass, that you step on the grass that already cuts through the shoes. So he started to instruct me basically to see that already the grass that is cut, that is freshly cut, is the one that is destroying the shoes. This is the type of brainwash we had. You don't have to go to the forest. I got to go grass, and the shoes already get cut. Yet he was walking back and forth here and was making sure, he claimed, that he can prove this. This is the way it was. If I would walk in some really special way, that probably would be the thing. But more than any farm boy, I started fishing, walking with the father and mother on picking mushrooms in the forest, chestnut, all kinds of stuff outdoors. Well, I was a baby when I was doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, really, when you get here, to this place here, I just felt right now that the grass is really a little bit stronger. But I'm just giving you complete MK Ultra stuff about what went on during MK Ultra, even in respect to shoes, where this cretin police officer, a gangster, got idea to so there's a little slope, just the way you see it, and that's what they would do, and they would have me come down and then walk up there and repeat this, and I'll go through the forest and so on, while they will be doing other stuff at home, where all kinds of politicians also would meet and would also meet with me later, and so on and so forth. This was like procedures, late procedures of MK Ultra, not early procedures. Early procedures involved politicians, future prime ministers, ministers, presidents, and royalties walking through this entire area toward Gorjanci, back and forth. They had picnics and all kinds of stuff going on. Grilled food outside, outdoors, and so on. This turned into, they turned this fucking place into entertainment place, literally, during MK Ultra, man. For these clowns to come here and basically do the unimaginable, really, pertaining to my case. So this is where and how this Method Yerman, he said, eyesight, no problem, no problem. They were asking him, well, what about this and so on? No problem, is no problem. I learned, no problem, no problem. He was like, he was obsessed with this idea that nobody will question where he got this idea from. So two flies at the same time. One pertains to my mom, about what she was up to. The second one to my neighbor, who was behind the shoe slicing. How? And I did not finish. It was right here up this slope as I go right now. This neighbor stated to me, he said to me, I don't know what he did, but he destroyed some shoes. He destroyed the shoes. And he said to me, no, he said to me, I asked him, what is he going to do with those shoes? Is he going to throw them away, or what are you going to do with the shoes? A police officer from Novo Mesto police station, this garbage police, the so-called police investigators, were asking, oh, well, is there yet another shoes, and there are another shoes are no good. And he destroy another shoes, and he destroy another shoes, and he destroy another shoes, because they just didn't want me to have this comfortable shoes on. So the guy said, no, I will not do that. I will not throw them away. He destroyed several pairs of shoes. is all they want to do is they want to get me some nasty fucked up shoes. Uncle Milan Kuchan was the ticket for them to use, for this police officer. They would go and they would cry to him. It was exactly Macron who would deliver these shoes as first. These are French shoes from Decathlon, assembled in China. This is shoe. Macron was the one who delivered these shoes, and these shoes were groundbreaking, life-saving shoes, because they destroyed my legs so badly with those other shoes, smaller size shoes, that is incredible. But you can hear the grass as I walk, right? You can hear that. They figure out these shoes can puncture through. Yes, they can. That's if you're looking to step on something sharp. And if the shoes are thin enough, whatever. I barely even come here ever, to this place. Barely even come ever here. So he said to me, no, I'm not going to throw them away. What I am going to do is I will simply switch the shoes you're going to buy new with the shoes that are destroyed. So this is strong enough admission. It doesn't matter whether he did this or not. That does not matter whether he did this stuff or he did not. What matters is what I stated. And what I stated is fact. He threatened me that shoes they destroyed during hiking, if they were new enough shoes, they would use to substitute me the shoes I would purchase as new inside of the store. So this is what this is. This is what this is all about. That's how this stuff was done. No, I'm not saying that this is what they were doing. Likely not, because the shoe numbers I was buying were bigger than the shoe sizes they were using. For one thing, that's a trouble for them. So that would be very difficult for them to do it, because even with these shoes, they targeted, even with these shoes, they were targeting smaller size shoes, or I should say just enough big shoes. And I always go bigger because I want my leg to be comfortable inside of the shoes. So the killing fields of psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje, Novo Mesto Police Milan Kuchan, I should say, and regretfully, as you see and as is evident from my blog, British royals, German politicians, entire German leadership, and the rest of the pack. Maybe more than anybody, even Bill Clinton, George Bush became paranoid, claiming me, you are gonna destroy us all. You are gonna destroy us all. And the words always they use, they always brainwash. That was Donald Trump that repeated, with also others. This is how they intimidated, they demanded a compliance. You see what it takes to save a single one. And how many lives will it take to save you if it's going to be more than 2, 3, whatever, like this. And then, no, we will vote. That's the shit that went on with this scum known as Illuminati. The more garbage, the more violent they were, the more of that you got from them. Or corrupt or whatever. If they felt they need this for their owners, then they gladly would perform whatever. That would be people that barely would come, and that Bill Clinton and others would use to intimidate with, threaten with. You're gonna destroy us and so on. But the fact of the matter about this stuff is such that it's better to destroy 10,000 Lucifers than one good person, don't you think so? Think about what those 10,000 Satans can do if walking away from the crime like this free. This is about the normal people, this is about fucking evil. Total evil. Diabolic people, as diabolic as people can be diabolic. And MK Ultra is not telepathy, they call it a telepathy. This is no fucking telepathy. MK Ultra has a lot of different definitions, just as I describe on my blog. I definitely will not restrict myself to single one, because this is such a broad term that specifies crime on so many different levels. It is the most disgusting crime. There is nothing more disgusting in this world than MK Ultra. So, you know, it's related to the witch hunting. People who do this shit like this substituted what used to be known as witch hunters in mid-ages. There you go. What's also interesting is that the police officers who insisted me, with the neighbors, with all kinds of people that insisted me, this is very this is a game of Satan, and they don't only support the violence against parents, they use one during MK Ultra to alert about non-existent violence. On top of it, they involve parents in it, so they can also cause violence freely. As much as the more the better. I already talked to you about encouraging retaliation, but the best part maybe was when they told me, that's pretty crazy. I mean, truly, you're nothing other than somebody who responds to the jabs, to the lies, to the clusterfuck they do with you. Whether that be physical or psychological. The best part about it maybe was when they told me, when she kills your father, don't talk to her anymore. Yeah, this is all the stuff that you get, instructions like that, get brainwashed by the psychiatrist, police, so-called friends, visitors, and so on. During MK Ultra, they fucking wash your head. It's especially effective, the stuff, like the way they did, completely isolated here, with my being pretty much isolated away from the society my entire life. If it was time, after school, whatever, I learned to spend one inside of the forest or fishing in a nearby river, creek, whatever. Maybe I had 2-3 friends who all were involved in MK Ultra and against me. And that's why this shit is even more effective. The number of people that you get to meet during a single MK Ultra session, it's so astronomical It feels like you're fucking interacting with the entire world. That's where you get all kinds of weirdos jumping in your face and giving you their ABC, their feedback on your MK Ultra, on your life progress and so on, and all kinds of dead promises and failed promises and crazy stuff. Truly crazy stuff. So that type of stuff, when they do it, it's in particular effective because of the reasons that I stated. If you're not associating with anybody, you're isolated. It's about hearing voices, but the magnitude of this shit, it becomes even greater, I believe, because you're away from the city, away from the people, which is actually good. It's good because individual that is subjected to torture, he needs every fucking millimeter, every square inch of nature, everything that he can escape away from this madness, sickness, literally. My father, when he purchased here in this village is satanic, but because of this here, because of this green stuff, yeah, he saved my life, definitely. His decision to move away from the city, which was a hard one to deal with because of, well, he couldn't take city no more because it was in the city, or was still Yugoslavia, had this drunk Serbs, sometimes even with the firearms coming, officers, police officers, all kinds of stuff, garbage that you would not believe it exists, to death threat and all kinds of stuff. Fucking amazing stuff. Amazing stuff that you would not believe, the stuff that went on at this Trdinova 4 where we used to be. And I didn't pay attention to it. I started to get used to it. For me it was more interesting, more people than less people. All through I always was a reserved person. But still, this here is what actually saved my life, because it's the escape from the city, from the city evil, from the city element. It's the only way to escape. So I would say, yeah, I would say to everybody experiencing torture, MK Ultra torture, if you have feeling that you have been subjected to torture, to escape away from the city, if only possible. Whether that should be your parents, whether that should be whoever it is, go the fuck away as you can from an environment where you're tortured. This recipe that I gave you right now especially becomes very, very extremely effective even if you get tortured at a new location. If you made to the village, it's much better to change the place, to change the environment. You know that in the United States of America, people change locations all the time. This is this beautiful chestnut. The neighbor was laughing at me that I claimed it does not exist anywhere near our house, and I was so proud because I did not know for this place. So this is the reason why people in the United States of America, I was going to say, so often change locations, apartments, housing and so on. It's healthy, man. If they subject you to a torture and you start to see people that are people involved in some kind of bullshit scenarios and stuff like this on the street, meeting and so on, that you realize this is a mental illness. And worst part about this mental illness is that people like this will kill you if you don't go. Because in this village, what they did to me was, they would not allow me to fucking sleep. They would have me walk. I would go sleep for 1 hour, and they would have me on my feet, walking outside in the middle of the village from house to house. Promise me that they're going to put me back in the bed, and off I will go sleep when they will come for a visit, a ring disturbed between the sleep and so on. That's how they search for incidents. This is one satanic village, this village here.
Yeah, I maybe even said that in the wrong way. I said because, not because. No, I just use an example to explain you. Huh? You have people coming at your doorsteps that promise you they're going to get you killed a little earlier. We're engaging in a torture. Chance for something to take place inside of the city is 1,000 times greater than in the village. And this village was evil as hell.
When they can kill you like this, they can kill you like this. Germans observed them doing this sometimes in 2013. But the thing is, they talk to me about this stuff, right? So you don't get sleep. You get 4 hours to walk back and forth. And again, they put you in the bed, and that's your 8 hours basically reduced to half, or maybe even less. Add to that damage, kidney, liver damage, or something like that, and you know you're so fucked. They warned me about that. People are actually killed like this, and they were doing that stuff also to me in Miami. What should have been asleep during the work assignments, and he was not, and I would report to the shift for work and so on, and I was tortured by my co-workers. You guys cannot even imagine this, but the posts where I was were all MK Ultra posts, with some posts, like at Wackenhut Corporation, they guaranteed me, the co-workers, guaranteed me they destroyed other people already, that nobody escapes them. I had people that would stand up in my face, proud. Oh, I destroy already. It was nobody like this and so on. And they started to fuck with stuff like this. Yeah. When you see stuff like this is why people in the US move so much back and forth.
This is just a really, really good question, right? How many people do make residence changes? In 2022, estimated 27 million Americans, representing 8.6% of the population, changed their residence. This number is higher than in 2021. And it's what about the same thing? 30 million people went. The overall migration rate in the United States is 8.7, meaning roughly 30 million people move within the country each year. So, you know, the stuff I'm talking about, the stuff I'm talking to you about, the advice I give you, it's actually a life-saving advice. It's actually a life-saving advice. This is why the US prison system is jammed up, packed up with people from all walks of background. Once they get a key to you, they destroy you, they rip you apart, and they do that in the US a whole lot. Not that in other countries they do not, but many prompted me as the main reason for people moving around back and forth as to what I stated. And I did witness the people. I witnessed American police officers. I witnessed Robert Golub demonstrating me how this stuff is done on my ex-wife. She is from Ecuador, and they talk to the police, Slovenian police, American police, they talk with one another, and they discuss these issues, and Americans told them they have for every person, locked for every person, the push button. What the push button is for every person. That means that every American is subjected to MK Ultra brainwash. And all it takes basically is to play, whether it's a jealousy or it's whatever kind of issue they fuck with you. When you're younger, they basically design your personality traits based on subconscious manipulation. That's MK Ultra, brainwash. Subconscious brainwash done through your subconscious. And that's all it takes. Push the right buttons and you get yourself in a incident, whether that be a battery or whatever kind of incident, confrontation. You will land you in the jail, in more trouble, in many, many more trouble. Because when it comes to the jail, there's like a paradise for that kind of stuff. Milan Kuchan claimed that MKUltra is a disease of the modern time. And the truth is that in the United States of America, you can hear people swearing all the time. You hear all kinds of stuff like, oh, hell no, hell this, hell, hell that, hell, I don't know what kind of hell, and so on. Toxic stuff, toxic. The hell yeah, the hell no, etc., and back and forth might not even pertain to the people you interact with. It might pertain to you, so you wouldn't realize about what goes on.
People in the United States of America are greatly subjected to torture. Obviously, when it comes to MKUltra, afraid also to talk about this stuff. Obviously, they are afraid to talk about this stuff. Seems like they'll talk about anything you want in this world. Nothing more than a mental illness. That's a politics. But they don't want to talk about MKUltra. They'll talk to you about all kinds of bullshit. Integrated in your head chips, directed energy weapons, all kinds of stuff, microwaving you, and I don't know what the fuck. As they brainwash people with this stuff. But then nobody's going to talk about MKUltra, which is the most lethal stuff of them all. Nobody talks about that stuff. Brainwashing people with use of drugs. If you find yourself that you experience the stuff that's something negative about it and so on, move away, move to another location. Get a job on another location, which it can be tricky, and this is why they do. That's how they kill people. On employment applications, they even demand you to tell them which residences did you use in the past, where did you live in the past. This is the way it was. They demanded from me to list not only employment history, but the history of location where I used to live and so on, that kind of stuff. Village would be the right place for you, away from the jungle, from the concrete jungle. And if the shit happens, relocate. That means if you have the money, buy yourself something as cheap as possible. Save the rest in case you have to move to another location, whatever. The world is rotten. The one who does this stuff is police and courts. Judicial system.
Village might be just as shit, might be even bigger shit than a city, but at least you got to walk in the nature. Maybe you got to walk on the sun, on the road, to school, back from school, at work, back from work. And that's a whole much more than what otherwise would be.
One of the biggest criminals involved in this, that's a Krka pharmaceutical right there, was neighbor Igor Kotar, Dr. Igor Kotar. And he insisted that only in Ljubljana, in the biggest city of Slovenia, Ljubljana, the people are sick and this and that. Just because you come to the village, do not believe that there might be even 10 times or 100 times more sickness on it, like this one here. This is the most satanic village in the world. These are the people, this village are the people who pledged together with other villagers death to me at the request of Josip Broz Tito, who would come here. Milan Kuchan was cursing me when I was a baby, when he had to come to this fucking village. He didn't like villages, he liked the city stuff. the comfort. Nobody wanted to go to the village. In the times when we moved here, this was like very bad, going from the city. In all times, the good thing was to go to the city from the village because you have everything there. That's how they said. So, yes, big cities are infested with this type of illness. But it's important to remember that village can be even more lethal. If it gets to you, just change the location. That's all there is to it.
Milan Kuchan was the man behind ongoing brainwash throughout my entire childhood and teenage years. Insisted using Robert Golob, Gregor Golovich, Pahor, and others to convince me that city is the place to be, not a village, city. Milan Kuchan was characteristically the most unstable, ultra-violent individual since my earliest childhood, about whom my family alone warned me about. And it was funny because on one end he was totally insane with a violence-obsessed individual. On the other hand, he wanted to be my best friend, advising me that the city is the way to go, demanded from me to influence my father. There was a game back in the day, as Milan Kuchan, Golovich, and Golob are going to explain with Pahor, that demanded from me to regulate my father as far as where is he going to move from our old location in Novo Mesto City, Trdinova Šteri, Trdinova 4. This is the stuff Milan Kuchan will all have to explain about. Uncle Kuchan was so nice to me, in fact, that at one point in time he gained considerable emotional control over me, with me literally attacking father for his idea to move to the village. Just disapproving is what I'm trying to say. Oh, this is a hardcore criminal, and this was during my earliest childhood that went on. My father had a great reason to fear all this shit. Great reason. When he tried to move from the city to the village, he started to fear me, and he actually had a reason because of these funny uncles involved in it. So you see, all along there was a factor of insanity, divide and conquer, beat your son, kill your father element.
Do not believe the people, your friends, the neighbors, whatever the fuck, blah, blah, blah. Not even your mama and your papa. My father was the first one who started to fuck with this stuff. Just as I explained, started to play God. He learned from Kuchan. He learned from Josip Broz Tito. He learned from others, big bosses that were involved in this. Police directors who suggested, I will do and I will see who is doing this problem at home, who is the troublemaker. And it was my father who adopted this attitude because of the crime he committed himself to. That he's going to learn if it's a mama or it's me, or maybe it's even both of us that are trying to get rid of him. And this is how this shit with his hospital and then home for elderly started to develop, with mama trying to get rid of him. Not only him, but she also did everything she possibly could to get rid of me.
They both were trying to get rid of me, including and especially my father was trying to get rid of me. My entire family was trying to get rid of me. Everybody was trying to get rid of me. The attitude, the culture, the toxic nature of this case that gave the opportunity to the neighbors to meddle, police officers to act like, oh, I will see who is doing this. With my parents giving the ABC to these police officers, to the neighbors, to the village people, to the visitors about
bad boy I am, this and that. And then, oh, we notice that you're not because I would tell them about my papa or whatever, but because it would be my mama that would tell things about the papa and so on. And it would be a papa that would tell things about my mama. You understand me what the fuck I say? So you have too many gods involved, too many smart people involved, and that's exactly the type of atmosphere psychiatrists, police was looking for. They were looking for the divide and conquer. Bloodbath, family bloodbath is what they were looking for, and that's what MK Ultra is for. They were changing the roles of investigators, judges. I will find out this, I will find out who is doing it, or you guilty, or father guilty, or mother guilty. Including Nurse Yanko was doing this. Home from elderly people were doing this shit. So you can imagine what kind of atmosphere this MK Ultra was about.
This is, in my book, it does not even come into question. It's not questionable, this kind of stuff. It's out of consideration. My mom had the right to divorce him. My mom had the right to remove herself to another room. She already had her own room, by the way. My mom had the right to say, okay, I'm going to pay you so much, and you're going to take care of the father. The thing is, she didn't want to give 1 cent. The thing is, they were paying other people to do the stuff at home. The thing is, they were treating me like mentally ill. The thing is, they did absolutely everything possible to screw one another, and foremost me, who was dumped into the psychiatric hospital in 2012. And so, despite all this, for what father pledged will do, and did, I do not allow anybody at home to be in a status, less worthy status, or subject to this type of mistreatment. In Polish language they say przemoc. Przemoc means domestic violence. It means that somebody is stronger than the other and is taking inside of the family advantage of another family member. That's a domestic violence. That's a definition. Przemoc. Premoc in Slovenian is premoc. That's how they refer to that stuff as. I don't allow any of that stuff. She caused enormous damage, not only to father, but also to me. And father's stupidity caused more damage to him than to anybody else. This is the way it is, because the politicians don't give a fuck. Not about you, not about anybody. Now, Mesto police officers, in fact, have seen themselves literally as a politicians. They saw themselves, they wanted to be seen as a magicians, but at the same time, in front of the politicians, they wanted to shine as a politicians. They were doing a brainwash, political brainwash and stuff, and so they wanted to be also recognized for that stuff. We're not talking about the police, but the regular criminals. I just thought about this dung, a neighbor coughing over there. He's not the only one. They do this when I go through the village. I hear. If I was in the city where I was at, it would be 100 times of what is here. I was just thinking about that stuff. Have an idiot, you open the window, you look out on the street, and the idiot sees you. And they see you. And before you know, you're out on the street and you have a fight and you are in the back of the police car and you're gone. City is the deadliest place if you are a subject to MK Ultra torture. It's not a place to be. To move under this kind of circumstances is very, very wise thing to do. Advisable. And know when you search for the new location that usually people are moved through the low income apartments, jobs, temporary employments, and so on, straight into the psychiatric hospitals, prisons, etc., etc. So that means that the low income, the low budget locations are heavily infested with this kind of disease, because it's certain people who stay in certain element, like on the job, and it's other people, they are watching, supervising how they move back and forth. But this is the same shit. These are the same people, the same kind of political affiliation. They belong to a certain group that will enforce this stuff, regardless whether you're Republican or Democrat, whatever it might be. This is just known as corruption. It's run, the systems are ran by corruption, literally. In Europe, it depends on what country, can also be through the ethnic cleansing. And I'm not even saying that that's not in the US, because it's all kinds of shit that goes on. It depends on the place, location, and so on. So if you do happen that you find yourself in a situation weird, yeah, always try to save money, buy yourself a place somewhere outside of the city and start life, basically. I'm gonna do this one. It's gonna be again dedicated to the father. So, a new canal. There always was a problem here with what you see here is nothing seeded over there. They will be throwing a lot of water here, including myself. When I started to cook finally for myself, it was prohibited for me to even use kitchen, really, for cooking and stuff. And as a result, they would, talking about the people that will come here and cook, including police, they damage the grass here. And they would have to even bring grass from elsewhere and seed one here. The surface, the top of the, where the grass is, and replace it. Is the guy who did this canal here told me there will be no grass here unless when mama is going to cut the grass, if I will go and do like I did here. I took the grass, and the only thing I did was I incorporated one into the ground, and it surfaced up, you know. I don't know what mother did with this. I don't know what the fuck is this, that there is no grass here. I don't understand. She or whoever did went and they destroyed the grass deliberately. This is bullshit. So I did video recorded that the grass already seeded itself back. So that won't work either. So they told me, this guy told me, it will stay like this to remind him on the grave of the father. These people so fucking evil, diabolical, that you have no fucking clue. I think it's important what I stated here. One was more diabolical than the other. He said, and mom did cut the grass as soon as he put this here. She went on and she cut the grass. If he's not gonna put the grass around, they figure out that this is what it is. They figure out that the fastest way to regrow this stuff is to put the cut grass from Irish, what the fuck is it doesn't even come to me right now, that stuff, but this kind of stuff. Yeah, this kind of stuff. And just quickly, right away, it would go and seed its back. And if he's not going to do this, he will not have a second chance all the way to I don't know when, because she's going to cut the grass, that it's the kind of grass that you can use to do this. And so this is going to probably stay for some time, even years. They told me it's going to be like this, so people that were coming here, the stuff that went on during MK Ultra, look, you don't even have to talk to the motherfucker when comes here. It's enough.
Let me explain this, because it's a little bit difficult to explain. The instructions in front of me to the mother were, if he's not going to immediately pick up the cut grass, particularly clover, clover, detelca, clover, and seed one straight into the earth that's going to be digged around this channel, that's going to be just the way you see it right there. He's not going to have grass over there for many, many years. And they both, mother and this guy, explained me there will be a sun that will be a hot weather, a summer. So the whole thing went to put this canal was totally timed to the last second. And yeah, mother cut the grass right after he did this stuff. So mother was the one who even told me, well, if you will not do this and so on and so forth, then that will be like he told you, and you're gonna have this for many more years. It's gonna look like this, which is good, that it's gonna remind you of your father's grave. She did this whole thing with police, with psychiatrists, with neighbors, with people, village visitors, and so on. They created this stuff, yet they always, whatever they do during MK Ultra, stuff like this, to literally put you out of your skin, they always blame you for it. This is why my mama is gonna have to pay for this. That's why I'm never gonna let my mom off the hook for this stuff. This home, this house is my father's home. This is his house. This is his home. He's not a cattle, he's not an animal that you're gonna do with him like this. Nobody's gonna do it like this. I do not support domestic violence. I do not allow against the weaker one to be advantages like this taken. And frankly, my mother enjoyed it too much. And that's the kind of stuff you don't get around when it comes to me. This is the stuff you don't escape.
It's enough that they traumatize you during torture itself. And they did over and over and over again about the stuff I told you that concerned death of my father. That shit did not even stop in 2014. I didn't finish that stuff. And the psychiatrist Kopch continued in 2013. He continued to brain massage with that stuff for another 4 years until 2018. It wasn't over. And passed using all kinds of issues to get used to your father is dead. Your father is dead. What kind of people the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Robert Golob alone, with the Golobic, with the Pahor, with the Kuchan, they had a state prosecutors, Stefanic, Jurcic, Ogulin, etc., from Novo Mesto police station also told me, and if you're not gonna let, this is the way it's gonna be, that's how they told me, this is the way it's gonna be, and if you're gonna go after your mama, I'm gonna destroy you too, just like your father.
The main thing, whatever it is that you move in life, especially if you rent location, because of the issue that I told you, nowhere more seen than in the United States of America, is to secure whatever location you are, is to secure, obviously, doors or any other way of someone having the ability to penetrate into your home. What exactly that means? What exactly do I do? What I do personally, and it saved my life, okay? Because sometimes, especially if you work at home and you do this stuff and you work till you fall into oblivion,
you fall to sleep. Have to discipline yourself to go lock the door. And position the key in such a way so that nobody can push the key out. The second thing that I do that is extremely beneficial to me, better than if I would have something that I would use to jam the doors. Maybe that's actually even very bad, because it's easy to destabilize that thing and push through. Have to make sure that the locks cannot be such that it can be unlocked on one side and pushed out, that kind of stuff also. Second thing that what I use, that I suggest you to use, and it's very good because from the distance you can see whether you did secure the doors or not, is to simply use a ski rod or a hiking rod to jam lightly so that nobody can push down and enter the room, even if you somehow did not lock your doors. Do you understand? So I always use two-way securing doors. People get fucked on a super grand scale when it comes to low-income apartments, locations. This shit has been done all the fucking time. This is done in the military. It's done in the schools. It's done in the camping, whatever is social stuff you do, activities, hostels. Make sure that you secure your doors best to your abilities so that you won't have to change your place so soon, and so that you can be productive and you don't get poisoned, destroyed, ripped apart, search for a job, etc., 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 because this is the way it works.